Hi everyone, welcome to Off the Record. This is me, Saman Fatima, and we're again back with episode 2, where we actually talk about students who have come down to a new country, settled, doing a new course, and how actually things entails for them in a new country, with everything, with their studies, with their adjustments, with their foodings, with how they tackle situations, and how do they actually come up with those visa processes to a new country. So, with that being said, we had a very successful episode 1 with the Carnegie Mellon alumni. And now we move on to the next university and my next guest. And that's the episode 2 that you're watching here with my very, very amazing guest here, Prudence. Before we move on to her introducing herself, her role, her university, and what is her home country and how is she going through everything. I really wish everyone's safe everywhere and whoever is listening from anywhere, I hope good and happiness. And yes, let's get started. And I will pass it on the mic to you, Prudence, to introduce yourself. What is your college, the degree, the home country? When did you come here? And I would want the audience to know more about you.
Okay, thank you very much for having me, Saman. My name is Prudence. I'm originally from Ghana, Accra, Ghana. I came to the US in 2021, and I'm currently at the University of Cincinnati studying my master's in information technology with specialization in cybersecurity. Yeah, I hope I
Oh,
answered
that's
everything.
yes, you did, you did. So whoever is really interested in University of Cincinnati of the same program, you're actually landed up to the correct video, and there will be a lot of discussion around that course, around the university, and around the country itself. So, moving forward with you coming down to do your master's in information technology, specializing in cybersecurity. So, what made you actually chose this program? And then we'll move on to why this university. But probably first is what drew you towards this program?
Okay. So I chose this program because I knew I wanted to do cybersecurity right from my undergrad. So my undergrad is in computer science, and we learned a lot of things in computer science. We did programming, we did networking. In the final year, we did cybersecurity. And I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. So what I did was I managed to land a role in security. And through that, I was like, okay, now I want to focus. I want to narrow down my academic expertise. And so I looked around like everyone does. Looking for universities can be stressful. But then, yeah, so I looked around, I spoke to a couple of people, and then I settled on a couple of schools. And UC had a very I liked the, should I say, the flexibility that came with the program. And I narrowed down the school because of the professor I was going to be working with. I was able to connect with him ahead of time and then tell him about my interest, and he told me about his interest. And that was the main thing, especially because when you're doing like a master's thesis, you want to make sure that the professor you're working with is also aligned with what you want to do and you get along well. And so that was one main thing that made me go for this program and school. I've answered the school in general too. Yeah.
Yeah, I really resonate with that point of that's exactly the same with me as well, because in my undergrad as well, I did it with information technology. And with the last semester, I was exposed to cybersecurity subjects, and that really created an interest for that particular field. And that's why, I am also pursuing my master's in cybersecurity. So yeah, I really like resonate with that point. And I guess that's with a lot of people who have done their undergrad. So just to know, like, when did you do your undergrad? Just since we're talking about it,
Where or when did I do it?
like, when did you graduate
Okay.
from your?
Okay, I graduated in 2020. Yes, in
Oh,
so So I think the normal graduation time was supposed to be in May or April, but COVID hit and then we had to go home. The school was closed and we were not sure how things were going to move on. Like I was asking myself, am I going to graduate this year? What's going to happen? But then our school was so our school is, should I say, um yes, they came up with the online system. So we wrote our final exams online. I did my final project online, submitted it online. I was in constant communication with my supervisor. And in August, I graduated, August 2020.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
really amazing. I the point of me asking that point was that was there like a work ex between your undergrad and your grad? So that was the major motive. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
When we come down to University of Cincinnati, and you just explained it, why did you chose that university and that particular course? But I just wanted to understand, as an international student, what really drew you towards this country? Like that, I wanted to do my course from this country only, and not from any other country, or not from your home country itself.
So in Ghana, I hadn't seen a university offering a master's in cybersecurity, and I was drawn. I mean, my school does offer that. They do that, but then I wanted to go deep into application security, cloud security, and that wasn't being offered there. So I applied to a school in Canada too. I definitely explored my options. I applied to a school in Canada, a school in the US, and even a school in the UK. It was, I think UC came first and it was an acceptance. And so I was like, okay, I might as well just go and UC. That, that, that was the main thing. Yeah.
I'm like really very much interested to know about your story, because it's almost the same. Because when I did also applied for my applications here in the US, I did also applied it in Canada as well. Not UK, but I applied in Canada as well. So there are a lot of pointers that are really, really matching up with what and how we've done it, our applications and everything. That's great. I
Yeah.
guess like I did it correctly. Like everyone does it like that. It's just not me. So,
Yeah.
uh, moving forward with your application process that you have done with University of Cincinnati and other universities as well. So, how was the application process for UC? And with what you want to give it out to the audience, that what are the things that they need to take care of while filling up the application process, things that they need to be ready with, and they should expect, like the timelines and everything that you can give out.
Okay. So the application process, I okay, one thing I was also looking forward to was a school that wasn't going to require me to do the GRE because I was really, really, should I say, busy at that time. I had just started a new role. I was getting into it. So there was a lot of pressure coming from that end. So I was really looking for a school. Unfortunately, because of COVID, schools had waived the GRE. So I reached out to the school. I remember reaching out to the graduate school, sent emails. There were times where I set up a Zoom call just to clarify all of the requirements needed to come to the school. And so I did that, and I'll definitely advise students who are looking forward to schooling abroad, any country. The admissions office is always willing to help you. Just you need to master the skill of sending precise emails. You don't want to put every single thing in the emails. You want to make sure that your point is as concise as possible and it's not too long. And yes, you get faster responses. So that's what I did. Another thing I did was I knew someone in the school, so it was also easier to like navigate and ask questions from their perspective. But then I definitely leveraged the my school, my programs admissions office, and then the general graduate school admission office to send emails, ask about funding, all of that.
I guess that's the very foremost point that I also did as part of my application process. That, with every of the program, you have an advisor attached to that particular program, and you connecting with them is something really, really crucial because there are times that we really hear about, students not putting up their ID numbers or anything that could really speed up the process of picking up their emails from the mail systems. So that really works there. And like, is there like a timeline for your course, Prudence, that it only starts in spring, or it only starts in fall, or it's like all through like all through the seasons?
Okay, so it starts the general academic year starts in fall. So we have the fall intake and then the spring intake. Yes, but I was interested in coming in fall because that's when most of the funding is in the fall semester. So I definitely applied for fall. The deadline was February, if I remember correctly. But then I wanted to be ahead of I wanted to be ahead of the deadline. So I think I finally submitted everything by 2nd January. Yes, I got my references, everything ready in December, and then finally submitted it in January.
Okay, so when we talk about the application process, how many references were required as part of your application?
3 references were required. I remember, yeah, three references were required. So you could do professional or academic references.
Okay, cool. Three of them. And apart from that, did you also, put in any of the scores, like if not GRE, so any of the other exams that you gave and you wanted to put across, or everything was waived off at your time?
So because I'm from Ghana, we had IELTS waived. English proficiency was waived. So you can do it, but you don't have to do it. So I didn't do it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So the only things that were required were your SOP and your references. That's all.
Yes, so SOP and references. Yeah. Yeah.
I understand it's like really early with your time, like with how you want to recollect. But this is something I really like talking about when people actually think about it, that what
Hmm.
they did and how
Exactly.
and how things came out of it. So that's the amazing part of this process.
Yes.
Okay.
I think, sorry,
Yeah.
I think we had to submit a professional CV at some point in time, academic CV at some
Mhm.
point in time.
Okay, and the very last question about the application process is, like, you did all of the process in December, as you mentioned. January, you did all your submissions before the deadline. So, what was the timeline that you heard back from the college that you are in through, and when did the program was actually starting up with?
Okay, I like that question because UC was very fast in getting back to me, and I was so happy about that. I think I got my decision as early as 28th January. It was still in January. And so it was an evening. I don't remember which day it was, but then I received an email that a decision had been made about my admission or application to the school, and I was very tense. And then I logged into the portal and I saw that I'd been admitted. I was like, yay, that was great. It was in January. It was very early.
I can really imagine that, the point where the confetti actually goes out, you just get it. Okay, I got it. And then probably you concentrate on the rest of the email, that what actually it has in it. But yeah, that's a really nervous moment when you get that email and it just says click on your application and read more details about it,
Yeah.
about your decision. Yeah. Okay, so we talked about the application process, you're done through. Then, before actually leaving up for your college, like for example, it just started up in fall, you got it in January. What was the process, everything? Like, how were you actually logistically managing a lot of things at your end? Yes, we will address the elephant in the room, that's the visa process. I would come down to that question, but except that one, what are the other things that you were taking care of on priority before leaving?
Okay, so funding was funding was something I was looking forward to from the university. I So when the admission letter came, I was expecting like the funding to be like if you had funding or not to be in the like admission letter. But my school does it differently. I know other people had their funding come with the admission letter. But in January I got the decision and I think they sent us an email in late February to apply for assistantships if you were interested. So that came in February. I did my application. We also had to write a letter about why we wanted a scholarship, why we wanted to be assistants, teaching assistants. Um, I think that's when we were asked for the academic CV. So that happened in February, and I didn't hear back from them till like late March or April. So it was at that point I was looking into other ways of like I was waiting for other schools to also give me their decision. And I was looking into other ways I can fund the master's program. And I was also applying to jobs just in case I didn't, just in whichever I was exploring all of my options. So that happened. And then I got the decision in, I think, late March. And then we had to do an interview. So after the application, and then you're shortlisted for an interview. Then after the interview, before the final decision. I did the interview late March, and I think we head back in May. Yeah, late April or early May. So it was quite a long time in like you have to wait, you don't know what you're doing. Fortunately, I was also working, so I had something to distract me from like the whole application process, and that was helpful. Yeah.
I would really say UC was very, very, in depth with how they are getting their students, and if they are employees, they were very consistent with what they're actually hiring up with. So that's really amazing. And I know this process takes up a lot of time, but you ended up having that assistantship, and that's amazing. That really helps you up with the tuitions and everything, and with the funding part as well. So now let's discuss more about how is the visa process for your country, and how did you manage up with all those things. If anyone's coming from Ghana to the United States, what things they should need, and they should keep in mind that they should have it all ready before they go up to their interviews and everything for the visas.
Okay. So I think I think the visa process was the most tedious process. I think that was the most difficult process in the whole the whole process, the whole big process. Um so I got the funding, so I have my I-20 now. And then so you pay your MRV fees. That's it. And then you look for a date. Now, at the time I was looking for a date, the available dates were in the next year, 2020, that's 2021. So the available dates were in 2022. Because of COVID, there was a backlog. So that happened. And then we were told to apply for emergency 60 days to our start date, our school start date. And so I said, okay, I'm going to wait and for the 60 days and then I'll apply. But then I found that people applied ahead of time, so they got earlier dates. But I waited, but I mean, I was following the instructions. So I did that. And I wasn't getting a date even with the emergency. So emergency was approved. I applied for that and I still didn't have a date. I know June, July, I still did not have a date. My date was in March 2022. Yes. And my program starts in August 2021. So now I'm a Christian. So now I started praying. I started fasting. I was like, okay, God, I have my admission letter. I have funding. now I just need a visa to actually go and pursue my dreams. So it was a really tough time. I was just like trusting God. I was always checking the portal. And the funny thing is, when you over refresh the portal, it will lock you out. So that happened several times. And I had a friend who was also looking forward to coming here. So at a point, we just like, she'll check and then I check. If she checks and there are dates, you tell me. If I check and there are dates, I'll tell her. And the dates, they literally open and in seconds they are gone. So that was quite, it was a season. And we have just one embassy in Ghana. I know for India, I think you have a couple of embassies. So there was no back, at least there was no backup plan for me. So I was just like trusting and emailing. If there's anything I could do, I would email. I found so the US Embassy has an education unit in the embassy. So there was this lady that was there and we were getting emails, um study abroad, yeah, the study abroad program. So they were in charge, like if there's a university that wants to come to Ghana and talk to students about universities in Ghana. Yeah. So I I was just like, how I need a date. Who do I talk to? I need a date. But then I was patient enough, and one random evening after work, I logged in and I got a date in September. Like I said, school starts in August and my day was in September. So now I have a date, but then it's 3 weeks outside. It's 3 weeks past the start date. So what do? I reached out to the school. And I think this was another thing that made me know that UC had my back because I was in this situation and then I emailed the program coordinator. I told her, this is the situation. I am ready and I'm still willing to do this master's program. But then this is the date I have for my visa interview. Are we going to do it online? Am I allowed to start the course online and then come and join them, or what next? And then I remember my international students office was like, it depends on the schools, because some schools allowed their students to start online and some you had to be in person. Then again, I took it to the Lord in prayer. I was like, please come through for me. And then I reached out to my school and they were like, okay, they can do something about 3 weeks, but then I need to find a professor who's willing to work with me from Ghana for the first 3 weeks. I went to the Lord in prayer again. And then I found the professor I work with, Dr. Lee. And then I told him, this is my situation. I know the funny thing, it's one thing to have a date, another thing to go for the interview, and then another thing for your interview to be like for the request to be approved. I was so confident that I was going to be approved. So I just kept giving them that positive energy that, hey, this is my date and I'm so sure I'm going to be approved. So I need you to trust me and work with me and you will see me soon. That was it. I definitely felt discouraged at a point because I was like, wow, it's 3 weeks into the semester. I'm probably going to be late. People would have gone ahead of me. I'll be missing the orientation, that whole student experience. But it all worked out well. So
I understand, like, with the visas and everything, because I was in the same boat itself that, I also got a late visa date and I was also a week late to my college. And, it really, really depends upon how is the college being flexible with that situation and how long they are being flexible. Because with visa and everything, you just have to like consider that you are approved because there's no other option to manifest that part. And I guess you did the same, that you manifested that my visa would be approved nevertheless, whatever happens and whatever accommodations I make. But I understand with the visa process, that's like the biggest beast in the road, on the road of your going to the college. So I totally agree with that point. So with that being said, like, do you have like any advices to be given at the time of your visa process, like anything that you had a loose end with, you wanted to give it out to the audience that they could work on it much better?
My advice would be start early, start the process as early as possible. Um, yes, get your I-20 as soon as you can because that's the beginning. So get that, pay your CV's fee, and then yes, start the process early, try to get an early date. If you have to apply for emergency, apply as early as possible and prepare. I think another thing that gave me the confidence that it will be approved was, aside the fact that I was praying, I was also preparing. So what kind of questions will I be asked? Um, I was just getting my data and my facts right. So yeah, I think preparing and watch a lot of videos, like something like this, like a podcast like this is a great resource. I have a friend who has another podcast, Kins Nina. He also has a great platform where he shares a lot of study abroad stuff. That's one thing I was doing. I was watching videos of students who had already come ahead of me and how they went through the process. So that would be my advice. Ask questions, start the process early.
Thank you so much for that. And I know resources like these really help a lot because you get to know those folks who have actually applied, and you could directly connect with them for any of the issues. So with that being said, when did you actually come back to the college in person? Like you mentioned that it was 3 weeks later to your start date. So what was the process on that end?
So my so Ghana, the embassy in Ghana was interviewing F1 students on only Thursdays. Yes. On only Thursdays. So my date was 9th September. So and so first I had to email the school and tell them this is the date of my interview, and I'd already packed. I was so confident. I'd already packed. So I was so sure that if when my visa was given to me, because it's emergency, you go for your interview on Thursday, you get the visa on Friday, and then you can leave whenever you're ready. I was ready as at Friday. So I told them I would leave Ghana on Saturday and arrive in the US on Sunday. And so I had to email my international office when I got my programs sign off to start online. And then they made that reflect on my I-20, my entry date, that when I got to the port of entrance, I had a smooth entry into the country. So that's what I did. But I think I forgot the question.
It was more of like, did you come after like ninth of
Yes.
September?
So I went for the interview on Thursday. I got approved on Thursday, picked my visa on Friday, left Ghana on Saturday. Arrived on Sunday. It was fast.
Okay.
And I was in class on Monday.
So you skipped like 3 weeks of classes and the college was okay with it. Like you connected with a professor that you can work with for the 3 weeks, and then it was all good when you reached back.
So I didn't skip. I enrolled for online classes because so my college had because it was still COVID, there was still some flexibility in the kind of online classes you can take. So I registered for online and in-person classes, and I didn't skip a class. I didn't skip a class.
Got it. Okay.
The way I registered for my courses allowed me to start online. And for the in-person ones, I was always in touch with my professors and getting the assignments and things I needed everything was on Canvas. So that also helped the process be smooth. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's great that the college was highly supportive here and flexible to give you that leverage of 3 weeks, and then you could attend in person. So that's really amazing. Kudos to UC. And with that being said, once you were here in the United States on a Sunday, and then you had to start up with your classes on Monday. How did you manage up the logistic events that you had to manage up here, the bank accounts or setting up your place, the food and all, how you actually did it once you came here?
Okay. So I had a friend who lives close to the school, and I was in contact with her before coming. So when I got here, I was searching for housing online. I found a place. I moved in. So I arrived on Sunday. I moved in on Friday or Saturday. And then there's a bank, like there are a couple of banks close to campus. So I looked for the ones with the best student office and then went ahead to um, open that account. I think they were flexible with well, I don't really know how that works, so I wouldn't talk about that. But then yeah, I found a bank close to campus and opened a bank account with them. And the paperwork in terms of like settling down in the country was a lot. As an onboarding as a TA, you have to get your social security, all those things. It was just a lot of paperwork. And so yeah, that was a lot. And yeah,
Like,
settling,
do you also have a file full of a lot of papers, like related to your college, work, and everything? It's like a
I
stack of
do.
it.
I know I I think it's inevitable as an international student. You definitely need to have all those things because you never know. So you always need to have, and you need to have copies. So yeah, there was a lot of paperwork involved, but then yeah.
And yeah, adding up to my last question, there was also a segment of, how did you manage up, with UC and with the student housing that you were part of, and then the nearest banks and all. How were you actually managing your local food and anything? Was that, readily available? How was that? How was the struggle for that, like traveling for that?
I think I think there were some things that I was able to there were some things that um in my mind, I just told myself that, okay, it's a new country. And so I'm definitely going to have to readjust to some things in terms of food. So when I came, in the beginning, I had to find my way around what I had around me. But then the good thing was there was a Ghanaian community in the school. So like the Ghanaians already in the school. So I connected with them and Ohio also has Ghanaians here. So it was easy to find like a Ghanaian market to get Ghanaian stuff from to be able to cook Ghanaian meals. So I think it took a while, but then eventually it came around, like things came around.
Yeah, that's really amazing to have, like, on campus and obviously in the city as well, that you have people that you can ask for resources and anything, because they have been here for quite some time, and they would know more about things, and they could redirect you. So with that being said, with the last logistical part, how was the transportation? Like, how was the public commute and everything for you, especially when you came here, and how did you dealt with it?
So I found an apartment close to the school, and the school has shuttles. So I mostly use the shuttles or I walk. Like that's it. I mostly use the shuttles or walk.
Yeah. And apart from your universities, if you have to go somewhere else, like if you want to go around Ohio, how is that?
That's a good question. I haven't really gone around Ohio.
You see, it's keeping their students very busy with studies.
Oh no, that's not it. I think okay, so I mean it's uh yeah, it's a whole conversation.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's completely fine. I was just, meaning to know, like, how easy is it to go and commute in the city?
So the metro actually works, and UC has I think this is something that just came up recently. We have a subsidized fare. Now it's free. You could use the metro to anywhere in Cincinnati. Yeah. So it's another thing too is I so where the apartment is located, it's close to Kroger. That's like where we get like groceries. So I haven't really had a need to like find something outside of what I of where I am. But then when I have to, I know my way around. I know who to go to. And yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And having grocery stores near your place for like the day-to-day ones, not like your local food groceries, but still if you have places nearby by walk, that's really amazing. I also have a couple of them around my place as well. So that really keeps you, on the go that okay, I can get stuff from here and it will be quick for me. So that's really amazing. So with that being said, if I just quote you to tell me like two events that have been really amazing for you when you came here, and one that wasn't, you weren't expecting it, and that just gave gave you a lot of, uh, I would say there were a lot of loose ends related to it, and you had to really put yourself out to, get over that situation. Anything that, you remember of that really went off like, like a cakewalk, and the one that was really hard for you to adjust here or get to know here.
That's a good question. I think I'll merge the answers. I think I'll merge the questioning into one. So when I came here, I think getting along or trying to find your people at the college it was interesting because there's so many people, and we're talking college level, so the whole college. There's a lot of people, and you're trying to find your community. So, and the culture is different. In Ghana, it's pretty easy to like just meet someone and connect with a person. But here, there's like people on their phones, like it's a whole dynamic. So I noticed that, and then I found the opportunity to serve as a graduate students association executive. So I went for the position of GSA vice president, and I got that position. And so with that position, I was able to like help the other executive create a community for not just graduate students, but then for international students who are in the department and college-wise to find a sense of belonging. So when there's stuff happening in the college, we receive a lot of emails, but then and it's hard to keep up. But then in such a community, it's easy to like okay, you go for an event and then you find out that this is happening and that is happening, and so you're able to flow into whatever is happening in the school already. So I think that was a need I saw, and that was how I decided to meet that need by 7.
That's great. That's really amazing, and that also shows a lot of, obviously the DEI perspective as well, and also the sense of leadership here, when we talk about all these things. And said that, we have met up in person in VCS 2023. So to my
Yes.
audience who do not know, Women in Cybersecurity host their conferences every year, and this time it was in Denver. And me and Prudence met there, and it was really amazing to have a connect there. But I would really wanted to put it out in front of my audience as well that Prudence, because we're just talking about a sense of belonging in everything. VCS has a newer affiliate created called VCS Color of Inclusion, and we're both part of the board there. And I really wanted you to talk about it, your experience, and how did you join there, and how you can just shape it up to my audience, like how communities actually hold up for you, especially, and what you wanted to inculcate in others as well to be part of communities.
Okay. So I deciding to go in this career of cybersecurity and technology. Um, I saw at an early age that I definitely needed community right from when I was in Ghana. So on campus, as an undergrad, I was the campus lead for 3 communities, 3 different women organizations, and I was doing that on campus. So community has always been something that I I I know is important. Like yes, it's something that has always been a part of me. So even before I came here, I was looking for communities I can join ahead of my coming. So I knew about the VSIS community, the larger community. I know about the Anita Borg, Grace Hopper community also. And so these are communities I decided to join um online. So when I came here, it was easier to like just flow with whatever was happening. And then fortunately, when I came, that was when there was a student chapter created in on my campus. So I joined that immediately, applied for the student scholarship, went for the first my first WSIS conference in Cleveland. And then this year, we went to Denver. So in community, you get to learn some things that you get to learn things faster because on your own you want to research, but then when you find someone, the person just shares their experience with whatever you may also be going through, and then before you realize you've picked up much more than you in a shorter time than you would have when you sit behind your laptop and just like research all of the questions that are in your head. So definitely join a community. And with Colors of Inclusion, we're creating a space for women of color to especially in cybersecurity to just like come around. We're interested in technical and life. When I say life, in terms of like in cybersecurity as a woman. So yes, so we're definitely open to bringing more people on board into the field of cybersecurity. And as students partnerships lead, I'm definitely interested in getting students and into internship roles and like yeah, find their space in the field of cybersecurity.
That's really amazing, like, helping people to find their space in cyber. And I know communities really play a very vital role. They have helped me all through these years as well. And I know they have your back with everything and with anything. So that's the crux of it. And with that being said, as we're just drawing near to the end of the podcast, I have one more question for you to, talk about. As an international student, we know that we're coming down from our home country to a new country with a lot of things you mentioned about culture shock and everything, and with the educational processes and everything going down the lane. Do you want to like throw some light on what was your experience with the job search? How was it different from your home country, and how things went by?
That's a good question. I think one thing that has helped me is community. So, when you join these communities, they have platforms where people like share opportunities. So that's definitely something you want to join and get involved in. And then another thing is go for conferences. As a student, sometimes when you hear go for conferences, the first thing that comes to your mind is you probably can't fund it, but there are ways to get around it. So WSIS, if you're a member, you can apply for a student scholarship. Google has conference scholarships that they also um, that people can apply to. I was able to go for Grace Hopper last year because I applied for Google Conference Scholarship. And so, and they will take care of your everything. And so, definitely when you go for these conferences, most of the sponsors of these conferences are hiring. So you definitely want to put in the personal work to prepare, make sure you know your skills, make sure you're preparing for interviews and show up. It's it's a lot of people applying for the same role you're applying for. So you definitely want to do something that will set you apart. And one great thing is being at the conference and literally showing yourself and being yourself and just being yourself and answering the interview questions. I didn't know that at conferences, before I came, I didn't know that at conferences people get jobs. But then when I came here, I remember last week, one lady was like, oh, she came here, she wasn't even looking for a job and she got a job. I was like, okay, now that I know what to do for my next conference. So when I was going for Grace Hopper, I prepared myself. I prepared myself for whatever might come my way. And it's definitely something I advise. Apply to as many jobs as you can. Don't just like randomly apply. Look at the job descriptions and what suits what you want to do, and then give it a shot. People get it through referrals. People go through so many other means, but I'm a firm believer. I mean, I also believe that going to the career site, putting in your application also works. So yeah, find what works for you and do it. But yeah, by all means, sorry, go for conferences, network with people, join a community, and be active.
Yeah, that's the very important point of communities and networking, because you really catch up with a lot of people who you do not know are actually hiring folks, and you could just present yourself in front of them with a sheet of paper or maybe just you, and that really works. So as part of the conference this year at Women in Cybersecurity, I could also have that luxury of interviewing with a couple of sponsors that were part of the career fair, and that really helps you hone your skills and show yourself up, and you're there out, rather than sitting in front of a laptop, you're actually talking to them. So that's really amazing. And yes, the networking part is the second best thing. So
Yeah.
that's really amazing. And I wish you all luck with all the details that you shared up, and I know you are graduating soon. So we'll be hearing more good news on your platform soon. And
Thank
with
you.
that being, yeah, with that being said, the very last thing that I want Prudence you to, talk about is, are there any advices, anything in a nutshell that you wanted to pen down, or you wanted to talk to the audience if they are coming to the United States or to your college, to this particular street itself? Anything that you wanted to advise them?
So it's a bold step leaving your country, leaving your family to a new country to study. Nothing, I don't think anything prepares you for the experience. No matter the videos and the stories you hear, everybody's story is unique. So one person's story is not, it doesn't mean what the person went through is what you're going to go through. So definitely go ahead and take the bold step and allow things to unfold and be willing to learn as as things happen. Yes, be open to learning and definitely find your people. It's easier when you find your people. It's not perfect, but it's easier. So find your people. And yes, it's it's a bold step. So go ahead and take it. And yeah, yeah.
I get that. It's really, really bold of anyone. And talking about anyone, we both have taken those steps. And I would really recommend that, there is a void for your country and for your family, but still you are at a better place for a good future for yourself. And that's the last part that we see for ourselves, that, whatever we have skipped is for what. So with that being said, thank you so much, Prudence, for all your insights that you gave up. And I hope this will help somebody who's sitting out there and listening and would want to apply and connect with you. And we would have Prudence social handles below. So if you want to connect with her, you could just directly click on that link and connect with her. And apart from that, since we talked about a lot of communities today, if anyone wants to join any of the communities, we'd be having the links below in the section. And with that, I hope everyone has a great weekend. You too, Prudence. And with that, signing off. We'll have another episode soon with Off the Record. So, bye, everyone.
Bye.